All right, so welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. You should be watching this hopefully the day before our Chapter 4 quiz to help you study. Make sure it's open notes. So everything I cover today you can write down on your notes and you can use tomorrow on the test if you so choose to. All right, writing the equation of a line that points through this. So we know we're going to write the equation. And so we're going to start off with finding the slope. So it's going to be 2 over 9 minus, and then it remembers the y coordinate first, 6 and a negative 2. So this is negative 4 over, and that would be 9 plus 2, which is 11. So our equation that's going to be written through that, remember now we use our point slope form. I'm looking up because I'm going to leave that up there. Remember your point slope form is y equals m x minus x1 plus y1. Okay, and then when you write this down, please make sure you guys figure it out. Just plug and play. 4 over 11. I'm going to do the non-negative point, so I'll do the 2. So it's going to be x minus 9, and then it's going to be plus 2. Now here's the tricky part. I'm going to need a calculator for that. All right, so for this, then you distribute. Okay, when you distribute this out, it's going to be y equals negative 4 over 11x. All right, so we know that's not going to change. But then the calculation of negative is positive. So I do know it's 36 divided by 11. Okay, that won't change on the calculator. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add 2 to it. So if I add 2, I end up with 58 over 11. Now, here's the deal. This is kind of a weird set up an equation, but just know that most likely it'll be left in a fraction form like that if I were to do something crazy like this on the test, okay? If you guys have any questions about one like this, just come up, feel free to raise your hand and ask me, but this would be the equation for the line. Don't you love those beautiful fractions? Graph, 4x plus 3y equals 12. So, ladies and gentlemen, I reserved a computer card for tomorrow. 4x plus 3y equals 12. Okay? What in the world? 4x plus 3y equals 12. Alright, I reserved a computer card for tomorrow. What you want to do is make sure 4x plus 3y equals 12. To graph it, you would check the graph. All you do is do the y-intercept. So I got a 4 and a 3. So I know, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and 1, 2, 3, and you just connect the dots. That's bad. I did it again. What in the third time and I still can't do it. You get the draft. You get the graph it. All right, for these questions, use the following formula. Hector is walking at a constant speed. His timer starts when he is 12 feet from his starting position. Okay, so on a and then after 3 seconds, Hector's 21 feet from the starting position. So what I want to make sure you guys understand is we're going to use basically an XY formation in a table for this. So if he starts at, if he's going to start the timer, and when he does, his timer is going to be at, and then we're going to write a linear equation. His timer is going to be at 0. And when he's at 0, he's 12 feet away. And then the next time he looks at it, he's 3, and it's 21. What can you guys tell me about this? This is a what? A rate of change. So it would be 21 minus 12 over 3 minus 0. And that would be 9 over 3, or he's going 3 feet per second. Okay, so what is my linear equation? Well, my slope is what? 3x. And then what was my starting point? If I were to start on a graph, my starting point is going to be plus 12. So there's my equation. Now the question asks, estimate the distance after 15 seconds. In your calculator, 15 times 3 is not right. 15 times 3 is actually, I believe, 45. Okay, so you plug it in. Y equals 3 times 15 plus 12. So that'd be 45 plus 12, which equals out to be 57. So how far is he? He is 57, does it say a distance on here? 57 feet, okay? FT. Multiple choice. The table of ordered pairs shows the coordinates of 2 points on the graph. Which equation describes the function? So what I want you guys to do first is do simple elimination. And you'd find out which one of these slopes is legit. Okay, so what you want to do is figure out your x and y. So do the y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay? And when you do it, ladies and gentlemen, you would have 2 over negative 2 minus minus. All right, and this is going to be negative 1 and a 4. Change your signs. This is going to be 2 plus 1, which is 3. And it's all over what? Negative 2 and a negative 4, which is negative 6. So my slope is negative 1/2. If I know it's negative 1/2, a and b are gone. Now the question is where's the actual graph of the function? This is where you guys could plug it into an equation if you want, or ladies and gentlemen, what you could do is actually put it into Desmos, and I'll show you that one real quick. So my point is one of my points is negative 2, 2. So let's do that. You could negative 2. Whoops, let me change this real quick. And it's going to be comma 2. All right, and then I'm going to close that bracket, and then my other point is going to be negative 2, 4, negative 1. Okay, my other graph is 4, back that up, 4, negative 1. Okay, so if I have it set up like this, all right, and I have my 2 points out here, what do you think by looking at this, ladies and gentlemen, what does this actually look like? If I were to connect these 2 points on a graph, okay, is this a negative line if I were to actually put it up there? If you go on this right here, and if I have this ruler and I put the ruler on it, is that a positive or negative slope? Well, if left to right, it is negative. And then where is the intersection? It's going to be around a positive 1. So if you know that, C is the answer. Okay, it's not negative, it's going to be a positive 1. A simple thing that you guys can do sometimes, even as we go further with AZ Merit and the CBAS, I want you to take all the information that's given to you on tables like these points and to actually graph it. Okay? Next, number 6, write an equation in point slope form for a line that passes through the following point. Okay, so point slope form. One thing I want to make sure you guys please make note of. I know we had talked about, and I'll check the test to make sure I have it set up correctly for us because of how I change it. Okay, minus 3, and then it is going to be plus 6. But also remember what we actually did is we moved this 6 over. So technically, this equation could look like this, okay, when it comes to CBAS time. And if you guys don't know what the point slope form is, this and this are the same thing. Just make sure you guys know what it is. I'll make sure to change the test to make sure it looks like how we've been writing it the entire time. All right, write y minus 9 equals negative x plus 2 in slope-intercept form. So what do you think the first thing you want to do on this is to distribute the negative, right? So it's going to be y minus 9 equals negative x minus 2. We need to write it in slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So all you're going to do is bring this 9 over to here by adding 9 to both sides, and your equation would be y equals negative x plus 7. Pretty simple. Hopefully you guys understand that. The trick with this one is distributing the negative appropriately. Please make sure you do that. Write an equation in point slope form for a horizontal line that passes through the negative point of negative 4, negative 1. So we hadn't really talked too much about this, but a horizontal line that's going to pass through the following point, negative 4 over, negative 1 down. It's right here. If you draw a horizontal line at that point, ladies and gentlemen, write an equation in point slope form. Your equation is actually going to be y equals what? Negative 1. Okay? That's it. Nothing more complicated than that, because there is no slope. The slope is 0. Okay? Do I have a point? Technically speaking, you might see it also set up like this. The only problem with that is the only other way you might see this option written up technically would be y equals, and then my slope is 0, and it's going to be x minus, and then if it's your negative point, it's actually going to be plus 4, and then it's going to be what? Minus 1. If you multiply the 0 into it and carry forward, y equals what? Negative 1. Okay, hopefully you guys understand that concept for tomorrow, and you guys don't miss that. Write an equation in slope-intercept form for a line that passes through this, and then is parallel to our line right here. So since we have to make sure we create what with this first? You got to create your slope. So write this in slope-intercept form. Subtract x from both sides, and then you'd have 3y, and then negative x plus 6, divide by 3. All right, FYI, ladies and gentlemen, the garbage man is, or the custodian is about to come through and probably empty my trash and talk to me. So I'm going to probably turn around and say hello to him. And so just be aware that if I start talking weird, that it's to him. So here's my actually formula and my slope. So once you have your slope, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to put it in another slope form. So your slope form is going to be y equals negative 1/3. And then it's going to be x minus my point of 5 plus 3. Now we had talked about already before, the other option would be y minus 3 equals negative 1/3 x minus 5. But I'll make sure to make this change on the test because I'm pretty sure the answer on the test is like this. But we've been learning it like that, so I want to make sure you guys understand. Last but not least, multiple choice. Line DE contains a point D and E. Line F contains these points. Which set of coordinates for point G makes the two lines perpendicular? So what I want you to do is, technically speaking, I would want you to graph this. So negative 1, negative 4. If I go in here in Desmos, okay, you would have a bracket of negative 1, comma, negative 4. Close that bad boy. And then comma, my other point. My next one is 3, 3. Okay, so I know on this one, my line is 3, comma, whoops, it closed out. It's going to be 3, comma, 3. So there are my two green points. And then what I want to do is I'm going to create a third equation, okay? My third point for my line FG, my F point is negative 3, 3. So if my F point is negative 3, 3, I'm going to try to find, let me close it out here, negative 3, comma 3. All right, what I'm going to do is I need to find a line or a point that is perpendicular to this line. Okay, so what you technically would want to do is find out the slope from here to here. What is our slope with this? And then what you'd want to do is find the perpendicular line. Okay, now there are multiple ways you could do this. All right, but one thing I want to make sure you do first is you would want to find what? The point. Now, here's what you technically could do in Desmos, is you could plot these points out to figure out which one would be the correct one when you do it. What I mean by that is you could actually start writing these points out. So if I had this and I put a comma, and my next point would be 1, comma 7. All right. If I look at this, ladies and gentlemen, here's my original, here's my secondary point. Is that perpendicular? No way, no how is that first point correct. All right, so A is off the board. My next point is B is 110. Okay. If I put on here 1, comma 10. Oh, where'd it go? Say. All right, 1, comma 10. All right, if I put 1, comma 10 on here, ladies and gentlemen, where is that point at? Well, that point's way up there. Is that even close? No, that point is not close either. Lastly, let's try letter C. Letter C is 1, 4, and then I have a 4, negative 1. So if I do 1, 4 on here, 1, comma 4, okay, there are my 2 points right there. So my question to you is, does that look like that's going to create a perpendicular line? No way it doesn't. So last but not least would be 4, negative 1. So let's see if we can figure that one out. If you plot out 4, negative 1, look what you get, ladies and gentlemen. you would get your point here. All right, if you were to draw a line and I connect these two dots, guess what you'd get? You get two straight lines. The other way to solve this would be to find the slope. Okay, if I had the slope of this as 3, 3, if I had 3 over 3, minus, minus, and then it would be, this is 4, and that turns into a 1, and that's 5. Your slope is 7 over 4. And what you would want to find is what? The negative reciprocal of that. So you know your negative reciprocal is going to be negative 4 over 7. So you're going to want to find a negative line, and then what you would do is add that into the point. Technically speaking, you could do the point slope form, okay, where you would have y equals negative 4 over 7, and then it'd be x minus your point, that'd be a plus 3, and then it'd be plus 3 like that, and you would solve out your equation. Then what you could do is once you get this out, so this would be 12 over 7, you could technically graph this equation. And when you graph this equation from here, you would get a line that would run on Desmos, and then you could try to figure out kind of how we did with the points. So please make sure you guys write all this down. Good luck on the test tomorrow. I will have the slope intercept stuff up there, the point slope form and the standard form. Study up, but make sure you have great notes, and then you will do well on the test. Good luck, everybody, and get some rest, please.